Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Hello and welcome to the Midnight Express. Would have been a Thursday Night Live, but I was busy doing some retail stuff. Some things that I really don't want to have to deal with, but I may be forced to. But hey, that's an announcement for another day. Welcome to the nightcap of one of the dumbest fucking days I've ever seen in my life on this planet. We were committed pretty much. I'd already grown tired of the merger talk because it's soul sucking. It's soul sucking. It's sort of tragic in a way. Nobody involved was a good guy. There were better people involved. But as of today, 2:21 p.m., the world went stupid all at once. It's like Obi-Wan said. It's like all the common sense just went silent all at once. And that's what happened today. We had discussed this a couple of days ago about Paramount raising its bid to $31 an hour. Or not hour, that's hour, what I'm thinking, salary. $31 per share. The fuck are they getting this money from? We'll go into that. And Netflix, and I had said before, the only thing stopping Netflix from matching that deal, which they easily could have, is if they wanted to or not. And that's where we left it off a couple of days ago. Netflix has alerted the world that they didn't want to, that at that price, it was no longer attractive. Mathematically, they're right. It's not attractive for Paramount. And we're going to get into those details too. Because what happened today was probably the second dumbest day in mergers that I've been on the planet for. Now, I thought back in the late 90s that I had grown up and witnessed the dumbest, most ill-advised, disastrous merger, purchase, whatever the hell you want to call it of all time. AOL Time Warner. It is that bullshit that began, in my opinion, the slow decline of what Warner Brothers was. And we're going to go into that this weekend. When we do our Saturday and overnight live shows, that's going to be one of the things we jump into, because I cannot express how important and how disastrous it was when Ted Turner and Company and Warner Brothers and AOL merged to basically become a heaping, infectious pile of shit that would have disastrous effects to this day. We're sitting here right now to this day because of all of that, in large part. A lot of people don't remember because it's been a while. But from that point on, Warner Brothers just became like some kind of hot, diseased potato that nobody wanted their hands on. And if they took it off your hands, it was devalued. Each time devalued. This is the first time, actually, that its value has jumped. Remember, they was purchased as a $43 billion company. But because of the entities involved, not common sense, the entities involved in the desire element of it, we now have an 80 whatever billion dollar company, whatever it ends up being. So now a lot of people were messaging me, they were surprised. A lot of people didn't think that this was going to go down. At the very worst, Netflix would counter the bid. Don't be ashamed for being the smart one. If you thought that Netflix was going to sew this up, you're not the dummy. It took somebody doing something stupid to make you wrong. Common sense did not win out here. So, and I get a lot of people, and I don't know why I'm still getting this. When it comes to Snyder stuff, I'm going to answer that right now. I don't know what it means for that. I don't think any of this ever meant anything for that. I'm going to hold solid on that. So we'll get that out of the way. So if you're in the chat asking that, I don't know. I don't think it means anything. Most likely doesn't mean anything. If that's what you were holding on to this billions and billions and billions of dollar merger as a result for, then I don't know what to tell you. What it means for the DCU as far as what James Gunn's doing. This is the problem I've always had, and I've tried to be consistent on this. Is if there's no contract with James Gunn, I don't know who's going to be running Warner Brothers Discovery. We've gone back a year or so ever since this has gone down, ever since this went up for sale, as I didn't know who was going to be running. And with Netflix, felt a little bit better about stability under his feet because they don't have that type of operation. So there was no need for them to enter into that. They can just let things be. Paramount is another studio. By the way, all the monopoly bullshit you heard, it's going to be a monopoly. Okay, yeah, you either don't know what a monopoly is or you just think it's the game. I don't know, but there you go. But I have my 5 reasons why this may be the second dumbest move in my lifetime, and I'll bring those up. But first, I'm going to read there's a person I was following today when all this came about, and he's got his own YouTube channel. He's got his own stuff, and it pretty much mirrored what I thought was going on. His name is I hope I don't butcher your name, Akash Gupta, and I reposted it on our the Sci-Fi Center's Twitter thing. So we'll go ahead and share screen. All right, here we go. Going to read this. All right, Paramount just bought a $111 billion media empire with $12 billion dollars in market cap. Read that again. Paramount's market cap is roughly $12 billion. Warner Brothers Discovery's enterprise value in this deal is $111 billion. David Ellison is buying a company nearly 10 times his own size. How? Larry Ellison's net worth is $200 billion. Wow, it's like $300 billion a couple months ago. He's personally guaranteeing the equity commitment. Bank of America, Citi, and Apollo are providing $57.5 billion in debt financing. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Abu Dhabi's Lamad Holdings, and the Qatar Investment Authority are providing equity. The combined entity will carry over $90 billion in debt. $90 billion in debt. It's almost 8 times more than your company's worth. But hey, this tells you everything you need to, everything about what actually happened. Netflix offered $83 billion for the studios and streaming, the good parts. Paramount offered $111 billion for everything, including the dying cable networks nobody else wanted. Netflix looked at the math to match Paramount and said, at this price, the deal is no longer financially attractive. That's Netflix speak for we're not overpaying for linear TV in 2026. Netflix stock jumped 10% on the news that it lost. Paramount rose 5%. The market is telling you which company made the better decision. What makes this really interesting is Paramount promised $6 billion in cost synergies. That's code for mass layoffs 2 studios, 2 streaming platforms, and overlapping cable networks, CNN and CBS News, under one roof. HBO Max and Paramount Plus merged. They'll need those savings because the debt service on $90 billion will be brutal. Yeah, that's he's not kidding there. David Ellison attended Trump's State of the Union and Lindsey Graham's guest, as Lindsey Graham's guest. Ted Sarandos was at the White House Thursday afternoon. Both are lobbying. Ellison won, and his father's close ties to Trump will matter when DOJ reviews the deal and puts reviews the deal that puts CBS, CNN, HBO, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, MTV, and TNT under one owner. By the way, there might be another caveat to that, but that might hold this up or very much delay it, and that's a California AG, and we'll put that up and pull it up. In the real story of a 42-year-old with rocky box office track record, just assembled the largest media conglomerate in history, financed by his father's fortune, Middle Eastern sovereign wealth, and $57.5 billion in bank debt. Netflix walked away richer. The question is whether Paramount can service the debt load while linear TV revenue keeps declining, or whether this becomes the most expensive content library acquisition ever assembled on borrowed time. All right. That's big. Those numbers aren't a joke. Remember, we were talking a long time about why it made Warner Brothers such a hard sell prior to these two getting into it, is because of that debt load. And that debt load for Warner Brothers was like under 40 million at the time. We're talking about a debt load of 90 billion. Now, there's interest on that. Not only is there interest on that, there's power that comes with that. There's leverage that comes with that. You know, those people didn't give up that kind of cash just to sit by and be silent. That's a lot of foreign money. All right, so there you go. Now, California AG they're about to launch an investigation. Now, why is that important? It's an antitrust investigation. Any state, just like the state attorney generals, the Republican ones, are going to come after Paramount. I think that a lot of it that was politically aligned, but I think California has a much bigger stake in it, mainly because a lot of these jobs that are going to be lost are, look what a lot of this going anywhere. Be honest with you, that has that benefits from the studio industry, East Coast, West Coast, is going to be hit by this because there's going to be jobs lost in every market. There's no way Paramount is going to, or can they, run redundancy that way. That was the beauty in the Netflix deal, is because there wasn't going to be that much job loss, if any, because Netflix is a complementary organization. You don't have overlapping distribution. You don't have overlapping studios. Netflix does what they do, but not on the scale that they would have needed Warner Brothers to do. And to be honest with you, between the two companies, Netflix, say what you want about Netflix, I think they're the smarter company. They don't pull in $4.5 billion a month by accident. People just don't dump that kind of cash on your porch when you're stupid. So there's a lot of issues that I have with it. I don't think it was the best move. I don't think the smartest thing happened yesterday. I think the thing that somebody wanted more happened, but I think this is a disaster, to be honest with you, because I'm still not sure that the Ellison family can run Paramount. They've only owned that company for a few months now, less than a year, I think. And they just lost. We were just talking about the other day. They dropped $500 million in market. So this is what happens when neither one of these entities, in my opinion, whether it be Netflix or Warner Brothers, actually three, you had three chief principal people involved that, in my opinion, this is me, were not looking out for the best interest of Warner Brothers Studios. They were what Zazoff was looking to cash out. We've been saying that for almost 2 years now, 3 years almost. Ellison just wants to consume stuff. Netflix, out of the three, same thing, consumption. But I actually think Netflix operating Warner Brothers separately would have been better. I mean, the best scenario is nobody buying them at all. But that wasn't going to happen simply because the one principal was only in to cash out. Yeah, did he make the studio better and make it, but not because he wanted to make a long-term, asset, or he just wanted to flip it. He wasn't making Warner Brothers better because he wanted a better Warner Brothers. He wanted a more valuable Warner Brothers. And this is the key. This has been the pattern since the mid-90s when it comes to Warner Brothers. It keeps getting handed off to people who are not in the best interest of them or not looking. They're looking to cash out. AT&T was horrible. They were just looking for venues to, for their technology and DirecTV and all that. I don't know what the fuck AOL was thinking. AOL had no business purchasing anybody or merging with anybody at that particular time. And look how that ended. Warner Brothers Discovery didn't buy it to make it a great studio that's going to last 100 years. They can say that, but they're going to cash out and they're going to get on a golden yacht and sail off into the sunset. So I really think that I don't think anybody is served here, but the people who are going to be cashing out. I feel bad for the people that are going to lose their jobs. And here's the thing about a monopoly. I don't think either one of them approaches technically a monopoly, but if we were worried about one, it would have been Paramount, because Paramount is literally, if this goes through, is going to literally consume another studio. That studio is going to use the leverage that workers have to go other places and make other movies. That's literally how you get a monopoly. I think there's enough of the market share left for them technically not to become one, but they were a lot closer to being one than Netflix was. Netflix would have kept Warner Brothers running as a separate entity. Paramount cannot. They cannot. They don't have the capital, the market capital, to run two separate entities. They were already talking about thousands of job losses even before the merger. So now with redundancy and duplication, we're going to lose. There's going to be a lot gone. And like I said, I'm gonna bring up my reasoning here before somebody get Brad in. Hi Brad, let me go ahead and do this real quick because this is and then we'll go back and forth. But I'm gonna give you my 5 reasons why I think this may have been one of the dumbest fucking days in media history. If it goes, like I said, by the way, guys, I'm saying this under the assumption that it would go through. There's still a lot of regulatory concern with the Republican Party and all this cozying up to Trump, which I'm going to point out here.
Well, there's like the governor of California is already saying,
the AG of California, AG of California, but not just that. We are less than a year away from possibly one of the, if not both of the houses flipping. You could in a 12-month span end up with a Congress and a Senate that is not favorable to this. And if this takes a long time, who knows how long Trump is going to be in office? And if it takes longer than 3 years, he definitely will be out of office. And you could find yourself. So there's a lot to go here. But let's just bring this up under the assumption that this would be a dumb. It's a dumb deal, but it would be a done deal.
I knew you're going to do that pun on it.
All right, so let's look at my top 5 reasons why this might have been one of the dumbest days. All right, job loss. I already picked up on that. All right, job loss. You're going to, at a time where jobs are all really hard to come by in any industry, you're already talking about thousands of jobs gone. Now, there's just no way. There's no way, even no matter whether you want to or not. If you consume this company, you cannot afford to keep, not with a 90 billion with a B, a billion debt load and interest. Okay, so that's job losses right there. Not just job losses for job losses for people around the industry. Anywhere that there's a studio or anything happening that creates jobs, it's not just the actors and the gaffers and the camp. There's a lot of sprawling things that movies being made, TV shows being made. There's a lot of job creation there. You're going to not only lose those jobs, you're going to lose what they put into the income in surrounding communities across the board, maybe across countries, Canada, Ontario, Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta's become a big hub for Vegas. They're looking at Nevada trying to do that. So you're going to lose that. Closer to a monopoly than Netflix. Like I said, I kept hearing people say monopoly this, monopoly that. And I'm like, no, you're just saying the word because it's a big word and it sounds cool. Okay, great. No, if there is, neither one of them are going to approach, but if there was, like I said, it is Paramount, because Paramount is literally eliminating a independent entity that could operate on its own for people to go. You can't leave Paramount and go to Warner Brothers and for a better opportunity because they're the same company. That's literally the foundation of a monopoly, even though you're not quite near one. Sketchy finances, and I spelt that wrong. I know, guys. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I will be hopefully in the next week or so, I'll be able to go into details. Spelled finances wrong. I could fix it, but right now I don't care. Sketchy finances, whatever. I just read to you the list of people that made this happen. Whereas Netflix was just going to pay it in cash, which means you have that money. That's a transaction. It's done. Almost all of this money that they're getting is leveraged from a lot of places that, banks, foreign funds, two different Middle East entities. The people aren't regulated by American financial institutions. So that's crazy. Questionable temperament. Listen, you don't have to have been a long time watcher of this show to understand what I think of David Ellison and not how he's conducted himself throughout this whole ordeal, how he's conducted himself in general. When it comes to just watching what he did with CNN, people are like, well, he's not going to do it. No, he did. The guy who's orchestrating this had some questionable things go on with CNN. And when you have those things going on with an outlet, you lose credibility. When you're not doing something for the betterment of a franchise, I call that questionable. So questionable temperament, threatening people. The only reason this is happening is because he got money from somewhere. And Netflix decided that this is not going to happen. And, whether regulatory concern, what's his face? Sanderson met with the president today. What fun that must have been. They say he didn't leave happy, but he could have still picked up his phone and said 85 billion. He could have picked up his phone and said 85 billion, and the deal probably would have went through. So hold on for a second. Let me get through, and then I'll go in. So questionable temperament. And here's one of the big ones, and I'm really, really, really disappointed. Listen, somewhere right now in your household, in your friend circle, in your job, at your local comic book store, at the Starbucks, you sit and talk to somebody who has spurted out this. It's a win for Netflix because it's going to save physical media and it's going to save the theatrical window. Please get in a rocket ship, aim it towards the moon, prepare yourself there, and don't come back until you understand that that's bullshit. None of these, Sarandos or Ellison, that's not who's driving that trend. If you want to find out, if you want to get the culprit that is killing brick and mortar, that is causing windows to go down, that is causing physical media to go away, what I need you to do right now, I need you to stop. Even if it means stop watching the show, I need you to run into your closet, near your closet, or I need you to go into the medicine cabinet, anywhere that there's a mirror, and collectively look there, because that's who did it. I don't give two shits what either man said about, well, I'm going to keep movies in theaters for 2,000. What? It doesn't matter, because you know what? Nobody is going to do something that is losing them money. And if getting them out of those windows is going to save them money so that they can put it in other resources or furnish that in another platform, they're going to do it. I don't care what they say to you. Even Sarando said what the market would dictate. We will give you an average of 45, but if we have a shit movie that's not doing well, we're going to take it out. And guess what? There's a lot of movies out there that don't do well. And now you're going to have somebody who has two distributions where they're going to have to put double the movies on the screen. They're not going to be able to keep all those movies on the screen for 95 or 45 days. And then people want a 90-day window. Are you insane? So people are thinking this is a win because physical media that the consumer decided they didn't want. And the theatrical window that the consumer drove down because the consumer went for the convenience. So I saw a lot of people saying, my physical, no, listen, you may not want to blame all the people around you that decided it was clicking was easier than getting off their ass and going to places. That's what the customer did. All these guys did, whether it be Ellerson, Zazzle, any of these guys did, was follow the trends. That's how they got rich in the first place. All right, and my last one, and I might have spelled that wrong too. I don't know. I'm tired. I think I spelled corruption right. I threw this together quick because I read it. Corruption. This is corrupt as fuck. And it doesn't matter whether you're right wing, left wing, liberal, media. It doesn't matter, because I wouldn't want this under a Democrat or an independent happening anyway. There are people who played parts in this that the system is built for them not to play any part in. Cozying up to your friend in any position in order to affect the outcome, that's corruption. That's corruption. Making threats based on regulatory and then having somebody on the other end be reciprocal of those threats to help you, that's corruption. And what we got to be super careful is, you know, if you're right wing, you may be like, oh, this is great. Yeah, we're going to get, blah, blah. It won't always be that way. Every person that thinks that way thinks it's going to be that way forever. So what if we get some extreme liberal here in 3 or 4 years, and an extreme liberal Congress or extreme liberal Senate? You're going to rue the day when you corrupted the system to where a dinner and a lunch and me just cozying up to you decides whether billions of dollars and thousands of dollars or thousands of jobs get lost. This entire process was corrupt, in my opinion, because of the fact that the moment he wrote that letter and basically threw out the whole regulatory threat, and then basically showed his hands that he'd been pretty much doing all that. And then when it went on when particular people put out their wishes, what they want CBS to look like, and it starts to look that way, that is not in the public interest, because the people who get screwed by that, left or right, are the general public, because I can no longer trust your product. I can no longer trust your product. If there are motives like that engineered its existence or its transformation, I can't trust you. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, independent, left, right, libertarian, doesn't matter. Once that seeps in that way, you've lost the faith in your product. And you see it happening in CBS News right now. So there's my 1, 2, 3, 4. But did I get 6? 1? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6. I'm on top 6. I'm really tired, guys. If I fuck up tonight, forgive me. All right. So go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, because one thing I was going to interject there, we talking about kind of Netflix's been Sarandis going to the White House and all that. Now, I'm not saying that they're planning or have planned anything like this way, but because you also talked about, it's like this is, you know, this still has to go through antitrust regulation. It's already getting a lot of pushback from you know, again, from like California Attorney General, like Elizabeth Warren's talked about it. This is, I mean, a lot of people who would need to okay this have said, yeah, this is not a done deal yet. Do you think that if this does get struck down as far as like the regulatory process, that, okay, Paramount's not going to do it, that Netflix maybe takes another shot at it?
Possibly, but it'll be at a lower bid.
Well, I mean, that's
a little bit. Yeah, listen, Sarandos is this guy. There's issues. There's obviously issues with all these guys. He's not a fool. He knows the value of that company. And he did what he thought was the responsible thing as far as not overpaying for it. Because Paramount, make no doubt, is overpaying for it. Not only are they overpaying for it, they're overpaying for it with other people's money.
And that's why I asked the other night. It's like, okay, if you always could raise your bid up to this much, why didn't you do that to start with instead of making a complete ass of yourself for the last couple months?
And what was my answer then? Is this my answer today? They shouldn't have. They shouldn't be doing this, to be honest with you. Because here's the thing about, and here's another thing, and this is why nobody wanted, listen, I love TNT, I love all my linear channels, but right now the reality, the financial reality with ad revenue and everything else that goes on is that it's a shaky enterprise right now. And if you can get it at a good price, then yeah, but they just overpaid to gain an entire company, and the stuff which, you know, I could see doing it if you were doing an all cash deal. If you have the bill, if you had the money to do it all cash, I could see it doing that, because guess what? Worst case scenario, you could sell those down to. But when you're doing this with 90 billion borrowed, that's tricky, man. But now the everybody will probably say, oh well, California, liberal this, liberal that. They what is one attorney general now? It probably will not be just them. Make no mistake that California is the 4th largest economy in the world, not just the nation. California is the 4th, and they have a direct stake in a lot of this because of the consolidation that's going to happen in their backyard. California and the Attorney General of California is no slouch. You hold that position, you're a very powerful person. And you have the ability to file lawsuits on behalf. Another thing that he brought up, the Attorney General of California, is the price. Because you can't borrow 90 billion and operate status quo. First of all, the jobs got to go down. And it's going to be heartbreaking. And that's why that article in the WBT, if Paramount takes over, we're just going to walk out anyway because we know what's going to happen. Not only you're dealing with the job loss, but you got to raise prices now. So you're raising prices while you're eliminating options. That's a problem that a lot of attorney generals are going to have. You might even get some red state attorney generals on that. I mean, because streaming is not getting any cheaper. And you're basically, if you merge, which I think Ellison might do, don't know, if you merge those entities, you're taking my cheaper option away and giving me one I can't afford anymore. So not only are they going to have, they'll have a legal battle with that, but you may have a consumer battle. Listen, the consumer is not an eternal elastic rubber band that can just keep stretching and stretching and stretching. It's hard times out there right now. So, I saw this and I'm like, the common sense thing didn't happen today. The vanity thing happened today. So, all right, now I'm going to hit the chat because I know you guys got it. Wow, fuck, you guys are rolling in this chat.
Yeah, and Bell Rev's in the chat too.
Yeah, this is our time of night. I'm going to start with the super chat because you made it at 12:19, and I'm going to get to it now. Like I said at the beginning, this is the problem that the geek in me has in this. Because, be honest with you, and I don't care what any other YouTuber tells me. I don't care what any other pundit tells me. This is the problem I've had, and I am not moving the goalposts or anything like that. If you've been watching this show for 2 years, you know where I am and how I feel about this, about jumping in head first into a pool that I don't know if there's going to be water in it when my head hits. This to me, unless he comes out and says, oh, no, I have a hard time believing David Ellison about it. If David Ellison told me the sky was blue, I would send somebody out to check while I kept my eye on him. But I would need, and now if tomorrow they announce, you know what, we're keeping them, because Abby and Luca, they don't even have to keep them. They can buy them out. They just have to.
Even if they sign a contract, so they can pay that out.
Yeah, they can pay them out. To be honest with you, I don't know how secure their job. I mean, I'm taking them. They might be. Why would you get rid of them? Here's the thing, though. When you buy something like this and you're a visionary, whatever you want to call David Ellison,
I don't think visionary is the word I'd use.
He sees himself as one. He has big ideas, so we don't need to really, respect him as one. He sees himself as having this big vision. It's his vision. He has his people. The people who are alongside of him for all this nonsense are the people that are probably going to replace the people. They're his people. You have that right when you acquire a company. So he may or may, I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to DC Comics. I don't know what is going to happen when it comes. He may be honest with you, in order to satisfy that debt cap, he may have to sell some of this stuff off. I don't see that happening because those IPs are damn near priceless. That would be foolish. But as far as like the DCU goes, I don't know, and I haven't heard anything about what he would do. If somebody's heard what is he going to do as far as the DCU?
I don't think he's mentioned like any like Gunn and Safran or DCUs by name, but like they've given like. They get like offhanded comments saying it's like, yeah, we would like largely keep like the current teams and play that kind of thing, which is like, and like, of course, that
Yeah,
had,
he
like,
did say that. Yeah,
that had like a lot of people like really celebrating it. It's like, that's where I made the point. Like, yeah, because he would totally say it's like, oh, I'm clearing house. I mean, Gunn might as well clear out his office right now. It's like, that's not what you say when you're doing a merger, that we're going to fire everybody day one.
For all I know, he may keep everybody in place. I don't believe him I don't believe what David Ellison says. I will only, what is the only thing, I believe in greed, but I don't have a greed metric here because the DCU is just getting started. So it's not like James Gunn has like $5 or $8 billion movies under his wing, like when, Disney purchased, Robert Studio. You knew all those cats were staying in place because they were the reason why they were even purchasing them for the most part. I can't say that about James Gunn where he's at right now because you've only had the one movie. You got one more coming out. And I don't know if the DCU is in a place to where it's going to be so painful for a new company to rip it out. If it were further down the line and we had more stuff, to where
if they had like completed like phase one or like chapter one,
but there's not enough there. The roots for the DCU, from my opinion, are not there enough to where no matter what he says, I won't believe it until I see a contract from him or an announcement of a contract from him, even if it's under the WBD. If tomorrow morning James Gunn wakes up and he's got a long-term contract beyond 2026, then I will know that this is probably happening at the behest of the person who's in the front. Either way, not either man who comes in, say if this deal falls apart and it ends up being Ted Sarandos in that place, we already know that they don't have redundancy. So you're safe there. But if
safer there.
Yeah, if Ellison comes out and says, you know what, I like what Gunn's doing, let's line him up with a contract, I feel a lot better about the DCU. But right now, I am not going to lie to you, Rational. I'm not going to lie to anybody and say that I am going to watch the DCU as if it were the Highlander series. Where, listen, I thought Highlander the series is going to get canceled in mid-break, commercial break. I thought that show was going to get canceled while I was watching it. You're going to come back and put Billy Black on the air or something. Yeah, while I'm watching a commercial break, I come back and they got like Happy Days reruns or something on there. That's why I was like, so that's where I'm taking it when it comes to the DCU. I don't know.
It's like thank
you for the $2 super chat.
Can't call these things, the drop of the hat, but I mean, I would think that like, do you announce like a contract extension for something like that, like before you've gotten the green light to proceed with the merger? Because that strikes me as something that's like, yeah, they would.
I would.
Okay. So,
because your biggest enemy right now, even if you're the only one, is uncertainty. Because even you can sit and make these deals and say, this is what we agreed on, and Netflix is out.
Which goes back to my point. I was saying, that's why they start out by saying it's like, yeah, we're totally keeping everybody that's in-house.
That's not enough, though. Yeah, that was bullshit. But now you have to put pen to paper, and I want to hear James Gunn say, I've met with David Zaslav, and if David Zaslav were to sign him to a contract, it would be because of the current owners or the incoming owners. They're not going to sign something. To me, that's always scary. So why hasn't he been extended now? Why? There's no reason.
Not a 10-year contract. Yeah.
Superman did well enough to show you that you were on a somewhat stable direction. Now it wasn't making like the number one hits like Abney and DeLuca were, so it's a little bit different. But there was enough. What else are they going to need to see? And if they say, well, we need to see what Supergirl does, well, then to me, then you're not on solid footing because that's a reaction. And I don't like Supergirl.
That. And Supergirl, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Supergirl's not going to do what Superman did.
Now, the MILF magnet could make it. The MILF magnet would be the deciding factor.
Maybe,
But here's a problem I have with that, though, is this reactionary. Instead of being able to roll out a carpet for a 10-year plan, I got to hop from one stone to the other, and maybe there's not a next stone for me to hop to. I don't like. That's what I was dealing with the DCU, and I don't have the time for that. All right, so let me talk about.
Aaron. I was going to sis.
He's not your sister. You can pull it. Hey, listen, we love you, Aaron. Brad seems to think you're the only one in the chat that he could pull up. That he's like 90% of the ones he pulls up.
Sabbatical. It's like
no, you have a full chat. But anyway.
Anyway, so he DM'd me some Boss Logic's art he's done on his fan art he's done on with Mortal Kombat and
Sorry about that.
and Street Fighter coming up, and she's pointing out, yeah, he kind of predicted this, assuming this merger it does get approved, because that would mean that with Warner Brothers owning Mortal Kombat, Paramount owns Street Fighter, so they could in theory like combine them. Let me show you this one you pulled up here.
Hold on.
We can't show fan art, right?
I would avoid it.
Okay. I'll put it in the chat for you guys.
James Cameron. Everybody that was saying that the evil dragon, the evil red in Netflix dragon was coming to eat up everything, and the sky was going to fall down upon you if Netflix came out on top. Where are you going to be when these people start getting their pink slips? Because it's going to affect everything. You scream theatrical, the whole everything got to be theatrical and all this, right? Do you not realize that when this happens, everybody that was championing the theatrical experience, do you realize that this is going to have a reverberating effect from the studio down to the distributor, down to the exhibitor? You think they're going to keep the same amount of movies being made between the two as they were separately? That's less traffic. That's a lot of things. So all these big name guys who I respect in their fields came out and said all this, my goodness, we have to stop this. And Mark Ruffalo had to be the adult in the room. Where are you going to be when they announce? I want to see all of these guys front and center and very loud in using their influence to try to save the jobs they're about to get lost, that weren't going to get lost on the other thing. All right, I answered this in the chat, but Alan says, well, you told me Netflix was a done deal. And Netflix, listen, like I said in my response, I sided with common sense. I sided with the smart thing. I don't feel any less confident or any less, embarrassed or anything. I'm more embarrassed that the stupid thing happened. The people who did the stupid thing got to bear that, not me. So, all right, Ashes.
We were in total agreement. Like the cash bid, it's like we really thought it's like that's okay. This is like the state of the heart.
And with a cash offer,
I was more surprised. I was surprised, and this is why, I mean, maybe this is a little bit tinfoil hat on my part, but that's why I was surprised that Netflix didn't even try to like match the current bid, which is why I suggested, again, maybe this is tinfoil hat. Like, what if they internally expect this won't be approved, and then that leaves, okay, it's not gonna be Paramount. We could take another shot at a lower price.
And if I'm a stockholder, I take that offer. Yeah, and stockholders, listen, it's your money. One of the main reasons they raised their price, I understand, but they raised their price using the same means that caused you to reject them the other 9 times. So I'm an idiot. I understand. I am nowhere near. I don't have the hedge funds. I don't have any of that shit. But the only thing that changed is that they went up to the $31 a chair. But they're doing it, as I just broke down, with the same unstable shit that scared you away. So if somebody gives me some counterfeit money and says, you know what, William, I'm going to give you $1,000 in counterfeit money, and I'm like, no, it's counterfeit money. It's no good. Wait a minute, William.
You monopoly.
I'm going to give you $2,000 in counterfeit money. Well, damn. Well, now I'm what? I don't understand. So I would like to have been a fly in that wine room to be like, we're on the same shaky foundations financially that, and any one of those entities could say, you know what, fuck this. I'm not really seeing a return on my money. So
I really thought that letter, that whiny letter, I thought that's the point where they were just going to stop picking up the phone for Paramount for Ellison.
I thought the only way it's like I thought the only way that they were going to be able to break through is to make an all cash offer. And I'm like, they can't do that. They still can't do that. So basically, the same debt load we've been talking about when it comes to Warner Brothers is now going to be doubled and carried over to a company that has a market cap of $12 billion, which means the majority of money when you talk about them is debt. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of dead money. So whatever profit you bring back, it's every dollar is some a certain percentage of it is sapped up by interest. So, well, I only found out today that a certain vendor hinted at wanting to revive Snyderverse. So there's that. Guys, listen, if that happened for you, if the Snyderverse thing happens, trust me, we'll talk about that until the cows come home and leave again. I don't think that's the top of anybody's mind right now. Not anybody who's spending the money. And I really hope that people weren't rooting one way or another over that, because I think you set yourself up most likely for disappointment. But I wish anybody who's on that train all the luck in the world.
There's something kind of related that came out there. We'll talk about it later. It's not a announcement per se, but it is something that did kind of come about today. But I'll talk about it later. We kind of go through the
is it fluff? Is it fluff? Or
no,
it's
not fluff. This is something that is. You want me to just go ahead and talk about it?
Sure.
Okay,
so I can shoot it down and move on. Sorry.
So Josh Horowitz, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Josh Horowitz of Happy Sad Confused podcast. As we all know, we got the 10-year birthday of BBS coming up, and let me go to his Instagram or posted this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is on. He of course had the famous, some might now call it infamous, interview with Henry Cavill upon his Superman return post Black Adam. He also interviewed Jason Momoa during the Aquaman press tour, where like he said, "Hey, what's the Snyder Cut business about?" And Momoa was the first cast member to kind of publicly back it. So he posted this earlier today, and he said 10 years, something special on Happy Sad Confused dropping soon, and poster BBS. So he didn't say what, but I mean, this is pretty much like something related to BBS.
Pretty much figured.
It's probably I think everybody's inferring like he's going to have Zach on. It's going to be some kind of like commemorative podcast discussion kind of thing. So again, without him like stating it outright, but I'm sure we'll get more details on that as we get closer to it. Zach's going to do his thing when he's on there. So I'm sure he'll get. Have a cryptic answer about it, but yeah, this did happen today. I thought I'd go ahead and share it.
Netflix is not going anywhere. And by the way, not only they're not going anywhere, they got $2.5 billion in separation fee, just wasted money. So, you should be saying, bye Warner Brothers. But Netflix doesn't go anywhere.
What else you guys got?
I'm going to pronounce it right. Benoit Tarks. I hope I pronounced that. People crying about movie theaters dying look real stupid right now. I think the people who are spreading that one over the other type of situation, neither Netflix or Paramount are going to save the theaters. It's not going to happen. It's going to be the customer deciding that's the environment they didn't want to watch these movies in. All those guys can do is go where the customer takes them. That's all any of these guys can do. You know what? The brick and mortar things that are now mostly online now, they didn't go away because the fat cat came in and said, "I'm going to take this from you." No, you gave it to them. The consumer gave it to them. We no longer shop till we drop. We click till we're sick, and it's easy to do. So I always hear the and listen, I'm no corporate fanboy, but the reality is that they're bloodhounds. The corporate fat cats are bloodhounds. They're going to sniff out with the money. If you change the trajectory, you're dropping the snacks and the breadcrumbs in, the bloodhound's going to follow you there. And the customer has the ultimate control over that. This stuff is not going to come back. Physical media is not going to come back on that level until the customer has a desire for it. The movie theaters aren't going to be teeming like they were in 2018 unless the customer decides that that's where they want to see it, period. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of this bluster when it comes to, and like I said, every time I saw some people that I'm like, I truly respect, it's a win for physical media. I'm like, what? What? Do you even know what the teams were? If that's what you're thinking? Oh, let's see. I'm gonna blow through these. I'm not gonna say either way. I feel a lot safer with him under contract. but I don't know. And this has been, like I said, I've been consistently just not wanting to, because like I didn't waste. I met a lot of people. We had a lot of fun. But as far as narratively, I bought in 2013 and would have stayed with you wherever you took me. You took me nowhere. So
you didn't waste your time, but you had your time wasted.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't.
Same with all of us.
Yeah. Nothing. Time is the most valued commodity your customer has. That's the one thing that you cannot waste when it comes to the retailer consumer experience. Time. You waste the customer's time, you lose that customer. If you leave me, if I invest in you, and I like what you put out, and I come back and you listen to all the other loud, stupid motherfuckers in the room, but you don't listen to me and all the people who continue to give me money, and you steer that train in that direction, you lose me. So here I am again with DCU. I've enjoyed it enough to get close to the pool, but I will never, ever commit to the DCU to the levels I did to the DCEU after what I went through. There's just too many other ways to spend my time. I got digital cable with 5 million channels, which I probably need to get rid of. I got streaming. I got documentaries to watch on YouTube. I got Tubi. I got all these at places that I didn't have in 2013 to go watch something. Wrestling, live, too many things to do to invest my emotional, fun into for some shit that you might just pull out from under me when I get to the. Do you know how hot I will be if this summer I finally, after 12,000 years of waiting, get to Lanterns and there's a shakeup? You know how stupid that'll be. A me thing. That'll be if I go head first into all the stuff that I'm anticipating, like I did previously. I'm a fucking fool. I deserve to have my head bounce off the bottom of an empty pool. So I'm taking it day by day, mission by mission, and I hope it works out. But until I see some long-term commitment to what's going on, I don't believe it's going to happen. And I'm not saying that as a hater. You guys have seen my opinions on these things. I've been pretty honest of how I feel.
I mean, not to be, Debbie Downer on it, but I mean, it's like, look, we're seeing a lot of, with DC Studios, we're seeing a lot with like Creature Commando season 2. It's greenlit. We're seeing like announcements for like Man Tomorrow, projects like that,
in pre-production. So
where's the news on Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League characters? It's like it's a lot of Superman, which is great. He's the pillar of DC, the pillar of superheroes. But again, you're brave and the bold. Like there's a lot of like, oh, we're working on it. We're hammering out the script. Wonder Woman, Paradise Lost. Now it's like, well, we're getting things together. It's like, again, where's the substantial portion of this where we like actually like hear about like, okay, so the X, Y,
and I'm no longer waiting. I will respond to what they give me. When I see it in front of me, I know Lanterns is in the can. I know basically what it's going to. I know that's coming. But anything else comes up, I'm not. You tell me that we're going to be doing a Blue Beetle Booster Gold, whatever the fuck. Fine, great. I don't have any use for those characters. But anything that you tell me, I'm going to be like, okay, sure.
Well, and even that's like, because you mentioned Shola Mardwayne, like his Blue Beetle, like he's carrying over in DCU. Okay,
which, like
what's
I said,
the story on that
disappears. I won't lose any sleep. But in general, I'm not invested into the future of DCU. That's what my bottom line is. I am not, and not because I want to be or that I think it's garbage or anything. I just don't. I'm not going to do that again. This is, it's just not worth it for me. What was your favorite show? Sorry you got. Listen, whatever the show is. Sorry you lost your show. I never want to see somebody lose a show that they like, especially if it's their favorite.
Brad, when are you going to bring up my comments? Well, what comments you talk about it?
I brought up your comments.
Wait a minute. What? Oh, well, he puts Aaron fourth. Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She's my sis, man.
She's not your sister. Just stop being creepy. To be honest, I think Paramount will win since the offer got better and they never gave up like a man or woman broken up. They should have. And they should not be acquiring this company. If you look at the reasons why they doubted Paramount to begin with, though not only are all those reasons there, they're now really big. Every doubt you had about Paramount's offer, it just got more expensive. So, and if I'm a Paramount stockholder right now, I don't know what's going on because my stock went there. The Netflix stocks went up $10. Netflix went $5, and it's probably going to go down. Once the reality, and that's what kept Warner Brothers stock down for so long. Why am I buying? I mean, you're not, it was so long. The only way they were going to be profitable was to get bought out. But now you have this situation. What's that going to do to their stock? I want to see what their stock is as this gets closer to happening. I want to see where their stock happens.
I haven't looked at their stock in a while, actually. Warner Bros. Discovery stock right now is $28.80. It's better than it was like a year ago.
Which means as we speak now, they Paramount is paying $3 over market value. That's a lot of money when you consider how many shares are out there.
And for a little context on Netflix, their stock is at $84.61.
And here's some bullshit, Fourth. I'm just glad WBD went to a film company and not Netflix, a tech company using film as product. Did you not understand what was going on? See, this tells me that a lot of people weren't really paying attention to the merger. They were paying attention to the highlights. Because that's not necessarily what was going to happen.
Paramount stock is $11.18.
Remember this conversation we had a couple of years ago. Remember this conversation right after Warner Bros. Discovery and Zaslav started doing all that shit. And we were looking at getting a GoFundMe to see if we could fucking buy the company because it was getting that low. But listen, you can't. This is not good for film companies in general. Less movies, there's no mathematical way that you're going to have the same output as Warner Brothers would under Netflix. There's no way. You cannot afford to. And a tech company using films, I mean, films are products. Films have always been all films are products. This is retail. So I don't understand where you're coming from there, Fourth. That's where the corruption part comes into. And like I said, this isn't a right or left thing. Because in 5 or 6 years, if it's all blue, I don't want that because you sacrifice the public trust in the system. And I know it's easy to say, well, all politicians are corrupt, but you need to pay attention when the corruption affects you directly. Are you going to be able to afford this streaming service that they will have to raise significantly more than Netflix would have raised? And they're going to combine it. Am I going to want a fucking hybrid again of with HBO, Paramount, Mountain Max? I don't want that. What about if I worked for you? What about if I'm attached to the movie industry and now less movies is not good? So if you want to keep the theater industry alive and go this, go that, you just basically tangle fucked yourself. If you look at what's about to happen, less jobs, less people in the industry, and less output. So how does that help any part of the business? To be honest with you, how does that help the theaters? Right now, the theaters are getting the maximum output from, and Paramount's actually pulling some of the movies back. You have Paramount, and you have all the distributors putting out what they put out. Now you literally you're going to cut that in half, and you're going to lose distribution. So I don't see how this is great. So. Motorhead, Eat the Rich song in my mind, come to reason. Come on, baby, eat the rich. Take it. Yeah. How you doing, Dan? I'm going to try to get through all these as much as possible. To be honest with you, I think Netflix will be better for the streaming side and Paramount is better for the cinema. They're not. I saw enough. I just gave you all the mathematical reasons why I don't know how you guys can come to that conclusion. How is less jobs? How is less movies being made? How is less places for people to go to distribute those movies? How is that better? On shaky money. Because if one of those guys puts out, he doesn't have enough to do this. I don't know. And under Netflix, the way it was explained, I truly believe they knew what they knew and they knew what they didn't know. Because I think they would have allowed you would not have had a disappearance of a studio. You would not have had the consumption of his studio. Netflix would have been Netflix, and Warner Brothers would have been Warner Brothers, and it would have been better, in my opinion. So is Sinners 2 going to be from the clown's perspective? Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Hey, listen, there's a lot of people. I know you're joking, but a lot of people who don't like what's going on with CBS. CBS, man, to watch what happens with CBS under Barry Weiss, it's tragic. CBS was a cornerstone in the news media for 70-something years. I mean, we're talking like back, I think, Walter Cronkite days. You know, and now look at it, it's a laughing stock now. So, and that hurts your company. That hurts your media. When people, this is the pop culture era, where people attach things that they don't like to the things that they do like, they give up on one. Or they permanent. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm not going to say I'm going to take sides here. Scream just premiered tonight. There's a lot of people that have issues. There's a political issue there that a lot of people have issues with. They're out there protesting that. You may not agree with what they're protesting or just take the side, but it doesn't matter because it shows a connection between what's happening with the IP and who owns it and what it does. CBS News ratings, I think I have to look at the report again. I think their news ratings have plummeted ever since that whole 60 Minutes thing that ended up getting aired on YouTube and getting a crap ton of views because it aired in Canada. People will respond to this in ways that will affect you, even if it's not getting out with torches and signs and everything else. You know what? The most powerful thing that a consumer can do when it comes to this type of entertainment is turn you off. All right. The biggest impact that a consumer can have on a something that sells consumables is to not show up, is to not buy your shit. And they don't have to make a sound in order to do that. So who knows how the general public is going to respond to this, especially when price hikes start coming. So, yeah. Freak those people who miss me, 713. I think, oh, nice little squirrel there. Miss me, those people who lose their jobs and houses and way of living. Snyderist, baby. Fuck. Okay.
I can't tell whether he's being facetious.
I can't tell whether you're being facetious or not, but
I mean, the squirrel,
listen, guys.
Kind of like, I mean, that's the scene.
Oh, I see that. I see that. I saw it now. That just hit me. I like I said, I don't want to answer questions when it comes. I don't listen, dude. I don't know where we're ever going to see that. I told you my preferences, but I don't see how we connect these two unless he comes out and says, "Oh, okay, let's do it." Who knows? Maybe he'll win over a lot of people, but yeah, you don't care about people who lose their jobs and houses. All right. I don't know if that's people fucking with us because
I saw there are people I saw celebrating this today as a like, oh, Snyder Bros thought it was, that Netflix was going to do it. Now it's not going to happen. So it's like, there's a whole.
To be honest with you guys, I don't know if anybody's going to do it. You know who I want to do it? DC, Jim Lee. You're watching the show. If you're watching the show, you did. By the way, I know I'm a YouTube nobody, but I watch other YouTubes.
Well, you got, I mean, in touch with Scott Snyder, so you're doing something right as far as like connecting to DC Comics.
I'm starting to see my way of thinking, and I know it can't be on some YouTubers that I'm like are somebody's, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's my wording. All you have to do is add my Cookie Monster voice, and it's me.
Like,
so, no, I'm not going to bring nobody's names up, but there's some people that I've been watching that are way up on the scale that maybe it's coincidence, but I'm like, wait a minute, you weren't thinking that way last week. And when I had my show, I'm like, are you one of my little minuscule views? That'd be awesome.
I do.
I'm just
going back to the Horowitz thing, which again, it's like I think it's reasonable.
It's a physical release. It's a physical release announcement.
Physical. Oh, you think it's a commemorative release?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also
could be wrong. It could be wrong.
I think it's also like it's probably it's not unreasonable to infer that it's like it's a sit down with Zack Snyder, like a commemorative.
Which would be cool, but I don't think they would just do that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have no insider. You could be 100% right. I'm just once again, I'm not jumping into the poll, people. I know there's no water in there.
If that is what it is, it's like an interview. It's like I do think it's a good chance that he gets the question or addresses the question.
Oh, he's gonna he could be walking out of a fucking bathroom, out of a Pizza Hut, out of a fucking Carl's Jr. He's gonna get that question no matter where. It doesn't mean that it's gonna lead to anything. He'll probably give the same answer. He'll give a very kind of polite answer because that's the kind of polite guy he is. But
look who's yeah.
Wasn't I? Wait a minute, I had something else. Oh,
well, I've seen him.
Maybe.
I've seen him in the chat a couple times too.
Well, yeah, but it's been phony. Jobs loss will be tremendous for corporate. Yeah, they don't care. Hi, Bell. What's going on? Yeah, this is like I said, the dumbest 24 hours and the second dummy. Like I said, by the way, this Saturday we are going to go through the miserable, dumbest transaction in my life, my brief life on this rock. We're going to talk about AOL's Time Warner's merger. And Ted Turner, if you're watching, you know what I mean.
And that was like 2000?
Yeah, 2000, 1997. Ted lost $1 billion on that merger. This is a merger. This is the syphilis that got to the brain and stayed there up until now. So if you want to understand the underpinnings and the foundations of fucking stupidity that Warner Brothers has become since the late 1990s, I'm going to go into it. And as a wrestling fan, yeah, I got a stake in the game. Rest in peace, Jamie Kellner, but motherfucker. Ugh.
You were in business at that point. I was in middle school, so I definitely wasn't I wasn't like aware of anything that was happening with that at that time. So that would be kind of history for me.
That's why I can't call what's about to go down the dumbest day in history, or the dumbest thing in history, because of that. There's nothing tops that.
He lost $1 billion on that.
Yes, we're going. Oh boy, trust me, I got notes because I've gone about it because it's if you're a wrestling fan who watched WCW back then. There is, in my opinion, a bogus sell. Jamie Kellner, who has since passed, so all my gripes with you are over, sir. But my gripes with you in life still exist, what you did. He was one of the AOL guys. He had the CW network and everything. He came up with the sell to Vince McMahon. It was completely bullshit, but a lot of things started happening. That to me was the first bad merger of the last quarter century. It was bad. And we're going to go into details. There are YouTube movies about this shit. I pale in comparison what I can show you, but it's relevant because it literally started. This started at the top of a hill as a little nugget, a little grain this big. And since the late 90s, early 2000s, it's been rolling downhill and the mess has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And the devaluation of Warner Brothers up until now, to be quite honest with you, these cats are about to pay $111 billion for a fucking $50 billion company. So it's not like everybody else in the room was like, go ahead, guys. And then but eventually, when it came down to the two people in the room, one of them said, no. Because they were already overpaying for it. Stock is 28. You're paying 31. That stock's going to go down.
And they're paying that much by choice too, because they said they want this is bad. We're going to take our bid above what the market value for the company is. So with other people's cash money, not even money. They're overpaying with other people's money by choice, which usually, if I do that, I get people yelling at me.
I'm done. I'm done. I get a sticker on my door. I get my power turned off. I get my cell phone turned off. That's how it happens.
If I overpay with somebody else's credit card,
those people come looking for me.
Yeah,
William, where's my? Yeah. All right, so let me scroll down to some of these. Cartoon Loadian or Nickel. I don't know. Nickel Network. There's going to be some because we're going to lose some stuff that is dear to people.
Which again, with the caveat that this does get government approval, which based on responses from people in in high positions, that's it's not a done deal.
Like I said, that we keep an eye on that Attorney General in California. Don't matter if you're corrupt by an inch or a mile when he's with. It generally does. Because okay. So if I'm the consumer and I see this and I look at what I have and I look at what I have to make it through the day with, and I'm your customer, it matters. It matters. All right.
Aaron says, "Rest in peace, WCW."
Yeah,
Well,
that
that was
hell
when,
they're doing.
even I know, and I was like, that's 2000, 2001. That's when they went south. That's also they went south at the time when where they had the movie Ready to Rumble, which is
The horrible movie. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember that.
It's
Oliver, what's his face? Oliver Platt. Oh,
he is funny in that. He's the one good thing about that. But it's based. The pro wrestling organization is based in WCW, and it came out like it was made when WCW was kind of riding high on the hog, and then but by the time it came out, actually, it was in WCW was kind of on the downturn. So
it was. And that sale, in my opinion, had the most negative effect of anything that's ever happened in wrestling. Not a particular death or anything like that. That had, because what that did, because the Macho Man and Eric Harvey and Ed Bishop, they all had better bids on the table, but then Jamie Kellner pulled the TV rights. And I think he did that on purpose so that he would discourage anybody else from buying it but Vince McMahon. I think that he had deals that he thought he could get Vince McMahon's programming on what he was starting with the CW. Not CW, it was what WB Network at the time. And I think there were some deals and it never came through. What that did is that ruined wrestling for me for a long time. And I think that ruined wrestling for like a lot of wrestlers. That created a monolith because instead of having somewhere else to go when you're being treated like shit, you had to stay in the place that was treating you like shit if you wanted to make your money. You didn't have health insurance, you didn't have any of these things. And when my opinion, and we'll go over this in detail on Saturday, is that put a lot of wrestlers' lives at stake because they resorted more so than in the 80s and mid 90s. They resorted to painkillers and depressants and everything else because if you couldn't physically show up for the gig, somebody else is going to take your gig. Whereas now, say what you want about AEW, you want to be a WWE drone or a mark, that's fine. But as a wrestler, as somebody who in the industry, if I don't like what's going on here and it's not good for me and my family, I can go somewhere else and vice versa.
We'll
go over that on Saturday.
What was the documentary that came out like in early 2000s? I forget the title of it. They interview like Off the Mat or something like that was what it was called. Or Beyond
the Mat. Beyond the Mat. Is it Beyond the Mat? Yeah.
And they interview. I remember like one section of it that really got like kind of what you're talking about. I forget who they were interviewing in it, but they're interviewing one wrestler in a hotel room, and then the camera crew they go out to get a coffee or something, and they come back and the narration says, we left to get a coffee. When we came back, he started shooting up.
Yeah, because and like I said, I'm not condoning drug use. I'm a square. I've never even tasted alcohol, smoked a cigarette. I'm a square. But you're in a position to where you have to make those dates, and not just the TV stuff, the house shows, the appearances, going over to other countries at that time, and you couldn't. It would be like you having a profession, and you couldn't do that profession anymore, and your life you couldn't work. So a lot of those guys were doing roids. A lot of those guys were doing amphetamine. A lot of those guys were doing a lot of things, and they were doing damage to their body. Whereas now, in WWE, they all have health and wellness, but a lot of that they didn't have it then. And people were going with concussions and stuff and not getting treated, because if you were out, you're out. You lost your spot, and you may never get that spot again. And like I said, if you couldn't show up, you couldn't perform. So they made sure that they could show up. And that's what happens when you have a wrestling monopoly. What AEW has done, and it's forced WWE to be better about the situation, is they are forced to treat wrestlers better now, in my opinion, because AEW and Tony Khan's money's out there. They may make fun of them and call them little this, little that, but they are definitely there are moves you can clearly see that WWE, even under Vince McMahon and especially under TKO, have done to keep performance because they know that those performers are being leveraged against them by AEW. And whenever there's a free agent out there, there's always a specter of Tony Khan taking out that wallet. So, but that's what the AOL Time Warner merger led to, and it pisses me off. So forgive me if I see a little bit angrier about that. It fucked up wrestling for 18 years. So we'll talk about that in detail. Let's see. Cavill. Like I said, guys, 100%. I'm just guessing. I think it's going to be the announcement of the.
Do you think if if that is what it is, do you think that it's just BVS, or they do like Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League alongside that?
Possibly be a box set. You know how you've been here for when I've described to you how I would have done this shit. So I mean I think so. And listen, guys,
if that's what happens, then it's like, okay, that's great. It's data.
And I know you motherfuckers are watching, but I listen. If it's anything beyond that, I would love it. Hell, you know what? If David Ellison came out, I don't think he would say, you know what, guys, what about the Snyderverse thing? You know, he's just be trying to win us over. But you know what?
Yeah. And here's the thing.
If it gets done, it gets done. But I don't think
here's the thing on that with David Ellison. It's like if he were the guy that said, okay, it's like, we've heard your calls for this. We've called up Zach. We're getting the band together. We're gonna make it happen. My response would be, it's like, thank you, David Ellison. You're still a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, you're still a motherfucker, dude. I mean, me getting the Snyderverse back and 6,000 jobs being lost, I don't know if I feel great about that. I'm just me. Yeah, I'm done. If that, listen, I can't. I just don't have the time. I want to do things that make me happy. You guys, I've said that over and over again. I want to start doing things solely for happiness. I don't, even more so than money. I just want to have fun and be happy. And if you do this again, it's not fun for me. I'm just going to go to other things, and I won't be the lesser about it. Not a lot of people won't. If they were to redo this again and people just stepped away forever, they got plenty of other things to go to. Plenty of other things to go do in this era. So and that's where I'm going to be if that happens again. First of all, once again, guys, if you add reboot to anything that you're doing, that's like adding pineapple on pizza for me. That's William repellent. Unless it's a legitimate, you've ran your cycle and you're reimagining things. Highlander is a little bit different because it's we were done. We ran that course. We got more of that original content than I ever thought and hoped for, and I'm happy with that. This X-Files shit, though, I keep hearing people announce for it, and I look at the articles and I'm like, who are they playing? Because if you're telling me in one article that you may be casting, Scully and Mulder, then that's not a reboot. Stop using the word. If Mulder and or Scully or both or Mitch Pileggi, any of the old school is in this thing, whatever it is, it's not a reboot. It's not a reboot. It's a revival. Like I always said, guys, and I will eventually get this on a bumper sticker, shirt, or a tattoo. When stupid and lazy fuck, reboot is the love child that nobody wants. All right? Nobody wants that kid. That kid gets left in the park. Nobody wants that kid. Especially with the Buffy thing, they had to start using revival because you got a lot of you got 3 generations of Buffy fans out there. No shit. That will hunt you down with pitchforks. If when that show comes on, Buffy Summers is somebody else, yeah, have fun with that one. Don't even answer those calls.
If Joss Whedon's not there, they're not breaking out the pitchforks anymore. I can tell you that.
They wouldn't care. They wouldn't give a shit. Most of those fans are just not involved in it.
Trust me. Level. It's like I know I've talked to enough Buffy fans. Like, you think
I talked to tons. We've done Buffy live shows. They don't give a fuck.
You think Snyder fans don't like Joss? Oh boy. Buffy, nobody hates Joss.
But they won't stop. Listen, if he's part of the, and I'm not saying he is, but if he was part of the package, they wouldn't care.
All right.
We're not talking. Snyderverse is different because you're talking about the guy who created the show. There are certain people, the loud minority might say something, but the majority of people still see him in that light. So
I would love William Snyderverse box. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what he's announcing. Yeah, when you turn the globe and the world burns.
Yeah, the merger.
Fuck yeah, you're right. No, but we're gonna make a fun rouse out of that. Yeah. And I am that is something that we can discuss on a non-day. That'll be on Saturday as well. I thought about it on my way in, but that's gonna be attached to a fundraiser, and I don't want this fucking chaos. I don't want to talk this dude. I don't want to really talk about this merger. Because it has reached a level of stupid that even my brain can't click on, and so we're gonna make a concerted effort, to be honest with you, because after this, until the lawsuits and stuff start hitting, there's not gonna be anything to talk about. When Attorney General, I'll read the lawsuit, we will report on the merger as things change, But if there's no news to report on the merger, then I'm not going to report it because this has been a soul-sucking experience. This is like having a fucking parasite on my neck just drawing the life out of me for the last 2 years. This whole WBD hoarding themselves out for somebody. Because remember, there was a point where we knew they were going to be sold. We just didn't know to who because like a hooker, they were on the street corner. That tells you that the best interest of the Warner Brothers Studios wasn't in their you know. All right, I'm going to scroll down here.
Azteca, yes, I did see that. I'm looking forward to it big time. I have not seen Faces of Death trailer. I saw Violent Nation 2. I haven't watched it yet, but I didn't see it dropped. So I'm gonna give that a look actually probably as soon as we finish up the show. Yeah, MK2 trailer, get ass.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem. Not only you might be priced out, you're priced out with less options. And that hurts the supply chain. Everything associated with the theatrical experience is affected by this. Right down to the popcorn guy, all the way up to the theater chain owners. Less traffic. Listen, like I said, I should put a scroll down here. I'm a fucking bonehead. Less traffic means less revenue. All right. I got to take off my shoes to count to 20. And I know that. Less traffic means less revenue for everyone. Less traffic to your website, less traffic to your brick and mortar. If there are less people coming in, that is less money. We're feeling it here in Vegas. Less tourists has meant less revenue by millions and billions. So if you do things that affect the flow of traffic and supply, you're affecting the entire cycle. Because once you take the consumer out of the equation, you don't have anything. You have to have somebody to sell something through and that can afford to buy what you're selling in order for this to work. So yeah, it's and this, like I said, this is where one of the aspects that the Attorney General is filing because, and he's not going to be the only one. And like I said, you're going to see some red state attorney generals in some of these broke ass states that you're going to be affecting whether they can afford your product or not. And then even without those hearings, even without all that, math won today. You just don't know how. Math tagged in common sense because Netflix said fuck no. But the math that's going to ultimately decide who the ultimate victor is on this is the consumer's math. Because if he can't afford it anymore, he can't do it. If they're making less revenue from movies because you consolidated, the money, where's that money going to come from? A black hole? How's the Saudis? Either the Saudis or the Qataris are going to either want their money back or they're going to want more control. Even though Ellison said, we're going to be right. Yeah, I don't know. 90 billion, 57.5 billion in debt. Warner Brothers sold with debt at 43 billion. So you have, and that's just the bank debt. We're not even forgetting about the money that the Saudis and the Qataris are loading them up. That's like literally 3 Warner Brothers in one cell. So yeah. And again, I was never up to the Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix. All right, let's see. Oh, what happens to Paramount Plus? Oh wow, this is gonna hurt my head because this is a lot of money here just with these 3 streamers. What happens to Paramount Plus, Showtime, and HBO? Will Paramount want to commit to season? Maybe not. And those shows ain't cheap to make. And now you're coming into the situation having to pay money back on the dollar. So I thank you for the $5. But I don't know. I don't know if they can afford to. Given how they're coming about on this, how this is happening, if they can afford to keep 3 streamers, producing program for 3 streamers, and which is gonna suck because HBO Max is my best streamer. I like Paramount Plus, but HBO Max. So I think you're going to end up with a lesser quality of both, less volume. Yeah, but you're thinking of archaic. You're thinking of what Netflix would have been without Warner Brothers. See, and that's the thing. In order to truly appreciate what just happened, you have to have opened yourself up to be. If you weren't willing to do that, then there's really not a conversation to be had. Now, because now you're getting there is a lesser of two evils. Wait till that unemployment line lights up. You know, wait till that supply chain gets fucked up. So I don't know. I think so, even though they don't know it yet, they don't say it yet. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're talking about job loss. You was already I can bring up the article. He was already talking about what was it? What was it, the word that the one guy put out? Asset or something, but basically it's cutting jobs. So we were already in for a hurting if you were in the film industry. Now you're gonna get whacked. And it's going to be whacked by like thousands of jobs. Just basically think of everything that Warner Brothers Discovery has that Paramount already has. Who do you think they're going to put in those places? You're going to go with the people that bought them to the dance. And those other people are going to lose their jobs. I think I got it. I did the smart thing 2 years ago. I just canceled all my subscription minus Amazon Prime. And save 30% on my car insurance. I got the commercial. I got it. I would love for like Amazon coming and say, "Fuck all of you guys. Here's $100 million bucks for shit." But oh well.
Which they could do.
I have absolutely no desire to watch Scream. By the way, I sent some people to it. I sent a few people because they didn't really give me anything to go with it. I just had a couple of. I heard it's horrible, but that's just me.
I'm going to see it tomorrow. The run up to it. Been kind of quiet actually.
I'm
gonna go see it tomorrow. And
I talked to some people who saw it tonight, and they don't have good things. But then again, hey, Brad might love it. It looks like shit, but hey,
at this point, hasn't Sydney suffered enough?
Well, that's why she was done. That's why she was done. I saw the trailers. I thought that one trailer was really good, but it still wasn't going to get me to go see it. Not pay for it.
Yeah, you think also in this like. In universe in the Scream universe, you would think with this many killings committed with the Ghostface costume, that would have been like discontinued. I mean, like imagine like it's like I don't know, like it's I like there aren't many like Bill Cosby or like O.J. Simpson like Halloween costume like imagine like somebody who's like associated with something like. Or a character is associated with like just murder or doing like something monstrous. They're doing terrible things. It's like you would think that like okay, it's like you have like 7 movies worth of people putting on Ghostface costumes.
I call them jobbers because they always get beaten. They get beaten the dumbest ways.
Yeah,
Henry, I don't see. Oh, hey, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. All right, question, William and Brad. What are your thoughts on Netflix back away at DVD invites? They don't care about the people's job. Okay, but pretty much this is what we've talked about the whole show, so I'll give you a synopsis. I think it's a bad deal. I think it is a potentially catastrophic bill. I don't think a lot of people who are talking about these things really can appreciate how catastrophic this could be for a lot of reasons. And I gave my 6 reasons, spelt wrong in some cases. But I gave my six reasons why I think this is not good.
All right.
Yeah, it's not good. And let me hold on. Let me do it again. I'll just for those of you who are just now getting here, I will go over this again just real quickly because I know some of you come in halfway through the show, and that's fine. So there we go. So am I up on the thing again? All right. So let me get through to that. So yeah, job loss. We've talked about the job loss. It's going to be thousands. They were already cutting thousands. Now we're going to get thousands more. And it's not just going to be those direct jobs. It's going to be everybody in the supply chain of film is going to get hurt by this because you're going to have duplication, what's called redundancy or duplication, which basically means that everything that Paramount has, they're not going to pay another person to do it if they already have those people. And that's going to be by the thousands. Closer to a monopoly, once again, you're consuming a studio and you're lessening that studio and you're lessening you're taking away that studio off the table as an independent entity that not only a consumer can go to for movies, but workers can go to. Sketchy finances, which I spelt wrong because I'm tired and now I'm hungry.
William's so mad he can't even spell right.
What's up?
You can't believe so mad he can't even spell right.
I'm not even mad at this. I just think this is fucking dumb. Sketchy finances. I listed in the article that I read from that one guy where a lot of this money is coming from, and then 57.5 billion of it is debt, is a bank loan, and then the rest of it is borrowed money from a lot of foreign entities. Questionable temperament. We've seen how David Ellison has conducted himself just recently and over time. And so, yeah, I don't know if I want that. And I see what happened with CBS, and I just don't know if I want that running anything meaningful. No real impact on theater actual run. And this is something that they use to woo people over to their side. It is not going to have impact. The only people that are going to have a real impact on theater runs in physical media or the customer. When the customer starts buying physical media more, then the people will start investing more into it. When the customer starts showing up to the movie in those type of consistent droves that they were in the 2018-19, prior to COVID, then that's when that'll change. Nothing will change that but the customer. I don't care what these fat cats tell you. They are not going to do things if they are not making money off of them. And right now, it's trending to where people are using, like I said, we don't shop till we drop, we click till we're sick. And that is the consumer driving that. And it won't come back until the consumer brings it back. And corruption. All the meetings with Donald Trump, meeting with Lindsey Graham, meeting with a lot of these guys,
more for this,
enticements and things. And you writing letters, implying that you have an in on inside track because you've talked to somebody. A lot of it is just corruption. It's just corruption, and it happens on both sides. But when you have a politician openly putting their finger on the scale to prevent somebody from getting something and somebody to getting something, to me that's corruption. Because that politician, whether it sounds naive or not, ultimately is answerable to you. Every politician that's in government right now is none of those guys are answerable to David Zaslav, Ted Sarandos, or David Ellison. It's the people that are the consumers that are being affected by this. So I believe, to me, this is it's just corrupt as fuck. And the meetings, he had Ted Sarandos going there. He had his meetings, but those, he'd already been meeting with Larry Ellison. They're close friends. And I don't mind you having a close friend that's a politician, but when you start doing things to create an unequal playing field for someone else that's involved, to me, that's corruption. And who ultimately pays for corruption is the consumer, whether it's Democrat or Republican, because now your options have been taken off the table and you were never in that office. You were never in that room. So there are my reasons, my thoughts on it, Hunter. Film psychic. I know this isn't an appropriate time for this question, but do you think DC would be better off if Kevin Feige accepted the offer to run DC back in 2027? No. The only way we would have been better off if there was a studio. Now, if you're asking me if part of him taking over is he establishes DC Studios, yeah. But with those dumb fucks that were running it at that point, he would in fact if he was offered, and he may have been, he looked at that and said no. And they were probably not willing to give him a studio. But if you're telling me that we get a studio, but then again, it's a studio answer to the CEO, which at that time was a fucking moron. So not with the film psychic, not with the collection of people that we had at the time. No. All right. Wow, I'm really down. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to get to all of these. Yeah. It really, and like I said, it had a catastrophic effect on the game, the sport. All right. Skipping. All right. That's about it. That's about all I got to say. And by the way, this will be sort of a topic on Saturday, but not in the direct way. It's just it's more of a prequel, how we got here. how we got on down this yellow brick road of stupidity that we've been on since Ted Turner made the fateful decision to join that merger.
God, lose $1 billion.
That he regrets. And we're going to read some quotes. He regrets.
Yeah, I regret it too if I lost $1 billion.
Listen, if I lose $1, I'm mad. I'm looking for a way to get it back, earn it back. If I lost $1 billion, oh my gosh, but he had more. He was a multi-billion dollars, but he was only at the time only worth $2 or $3 billion. He lost half of his worth because that was such a disaster. And make no mistake, it has led to this. It is everything that you've seen with the Warner Brothers Studios. It stems from that bullshit. So, see you on Saturday. All right, guys. Jeff who? I thought it was Tichihara. I don't know. It's been what? I left the corruption topic. No, I didn't. Oh, I missed. No, I said corruption.
Maybe were you like relisting it a minute ago?
Yeah, I relisted corruption because of the public trust issue. Let's see. I didn't see it. I know you sent it to me, but I've been busy. Sorry. This will be the last one. This merger is appropriate for 2026. Bring on the alien. I'm ready for any alien invasion, but I think they're going to look at it and be like, "This is why we don't need to invade. We just need to wait a little bit, or they'll do the damage to their own."
They're not going to blow up like send like the city destroyers like blow up the White House. So it's they'll take care of it themselves. We'll just like mop up the mess after they're done.
Yeah, that's the problem, though, Rational. I mean, it would have to be. You couldn't have him answering to what's the guy you put on there, Jeff Bukes. Yeah, it would have to have its own studio, no matter who is there. Kevin Feige's only going to answer to one person, no matter who he's working for. And pretty much that person is going to step aside and let Kevin Feige do his shit. So, all right, guys, that is it for tonight. I'm hungry and I'm tired, spelling shit wrong, but I figured I've been getting questions about it since 2:00 this afternoon. And there was no way I'd be, I was like, I
shot it your way, and like 15 minutes later, I see the article saying it's like, oh, that's like Netflix thousand. I was like, well, I guess I know what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, how do I feel about it? I mean, I can only comment on the things that directly affect me. The only thing it affects me is it comes to DC and all that as far as movies goes. I mean, I can see less movies. That's not a problem. I don't know. And another question I meant to answer. People keep asking me. I got 10 messages about this from people who know I'm a wrestle nerd. How does it affect AEW? Now, for right now, it doesn't. This merger is going to take a while to go down. I think that I don't think the skids are as greased as a lot of people think there are, because you have federal lawsuits in courts and stuff, and there's going to be a lot of things going in, and not all those will happen one after another, because each state might have an antitrust law, I think, based on what's going on, how this affects their particular region. And then once again, if you have if Congress or the Senate flips, this merger is not going to be done by the election.
And it's a midterm election year. Like for those of you, our international viewers, in this country, midterm elections tend to not go so well for the incumbent party. So that's something to think about. Yeah.
It's so we could have a totally situation. So this isn't over by a long shot, and it's just fucking sad actually, because I was hoping it would be. I disagree with it, but do you think Vince Russo killed WCW? He didn't help, but at the time, the last day of WCW, he still had offers on it. And if other people besides Vince McMahon had been allowed to buy that, then WCW might still be alive today. But it was when they pulled that. And here's the thing: if there's people who came along in Turner Networks that knew that too, because guess where AEW is now? So they learned that lesson the hard way. All right, guys, please like, subscribe, broadcast our signal, spread the word, hit the alert button, and I'll probably if he sends the link, I'll be on Vodka Stream tomorrow. But this merger talk is hurting my head. And I know obviously that's going to be the major topic on there, but I'm going to basically say the same thing I said here. I think this is the second dumbest day in Hollywood history. And I just don't really think that people understand why, because when I see some of the responses on all these social media, I'm like, you fell for what Ellison's telling you, then if you think that's going to happen. So we will see you on our regular schedule stuff on Saturday. Try to do it as early as possible. We got some more milestone stuff to talk about. We will cover those 2 passings for AFSP. We will be talking about this and the Elimination Chamber. It'll be ending right as I get on, and I have a feeling that that's going to be as predictable as anything else WWE's been doing these days. So we'll talk about that and whatever else jumps in. Sorry if I seem tired, because like I said, I got some things that are going on, some major things that are going on at the center that I may be announcing a lot sooner than later. But I have been consumed by that. That's why I was late today and all this other stuff. But yeah, real life stuff. All right, guys. See you Saturday.
See you guys.